Come on. What I'm talking about. Says we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. Yeah, we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. I said we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. Yeah, we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. Says we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. Said we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. Come on. I said we all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. We all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. We all do better when we all do better. You can't get better than that. Come on, y'all.
Man, that ain't no crime. And that ain't no crime.
And we are back.
Yeah,
It is Friday night.
Happening? Welcome everybody to another Friday night Gangstagrass show.
Oh, word, what's up?
Yeah.
What a guan.
Suze is already chilling with us on the Facebook
Woohoo!
feed.
Hey, Suze.
Yo. Sue's local money.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Nolly's already in the YouTube chat. What is everybody doing in these non-Twitch places?
I'm just so excited to like meet everybody in person or see everybody again. You know, there's a bunch of people we haven't seen in ages, obviously, having not done shows since February of 2020, and there's live in person shows anyway, and there's a bunch of people who have just sort of joined us during this time, and I'm like really excited to get to see all of them in the real, honest to goodness, actual world.
Yeah. It turns out Nolly's watching us in YouTube and Twitch at the same time.
Yeah, right?
I do not know how that's possible.
I watched the dance party on multiple streams at once.
I have them all up and just go back and forth so I can like see if I'm missing comments and that kind of stuff. But yeah, if I try and have them all on together, I'll go crazy. Like, wait,
aren't they all on different delays?
Yeah, exactly.
If you listen to all of them, it would just be wild.
Yeah.
Well, if you have like 3 monitors at home, we suggest 3, 4, 5. You can have multiples up there. Get a bunch of monitors. Just surround yourself with Gangstagrass.
And at some point, you end up looking like Ozymandias from Watchmen. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm trying to calculate like the ultimate way to end all conflict and bring peace to the world.
I hope it's
that.
not
Don't do it that way.
I need to watch like 5 screens worth of Gangstagrass simultaneously.
The show of the
Come
future.
Alexis.
I
I'm
hope
really into Watchmen.
And then just start flaying clones around on a catapult.
Yeah.
All right. have got? I am
Somebody's a fan
curious,
of catapults.
Mauve.
Resubscribed on the Twitch
Yeah.
feed. Yes, indeed.
Thank you. It's been great to have you. And we got Dan Toma in the chat. We got Jen of
So-
The Answer to Life, the Universe, and Everything.
Quick question, quick comment actually. Shout out to Dan Toma. Dan's been showing us love out in San Francisco. He does a lot of the audio work for the Giants, for San Francisco Giants.
And other
And
sports
so-
teams around the place.
Yeah, so he's been putting people on to us, and he said he was telling this one boy like, yeah, that's Gangstagrass. He was like, yeah, those are the guys that did the Justified theme song. So he told me his plan is to try and get something of ours as somebody's walk-up music.
And it
He's trying
really
to get us
should be.
out
There was
into
a
the world.
minute. There was a minute where I think a Detroit Tiger had "Long Hard Times to Come" as a walk-up. Isn't that right?
And
That
then,
is correct.
and then FX said no.
No,
What-
as
what
far as I know,
happened?
they were doing it.
Okay, awesome.
Maybe they still are. I don't remember.
Oh. Yeah,
But yeah, being somebody's walkout music is really cool.
very
Yeah,
cool.
that's dope.
Extremely
That's
cool.
Very, very dope. I'm a fan of that.
Love.
Speaking of really cool, it is not just Dan Toma who's really cool, and Jen and Noli and Suze and all the folks. It is also the fact that there's a ton of new Gangstagrass coming out starting today.
Yeah, it's
Yup.
right. This is the big ass announcement episode.
Yes.
we
Welcome
are-
to the 2-hour late night infomercial where we sell you a box set of knives.
Yeah.
Not all, because it's not all.
That's not all.
How many
Not
people
all.
have those
But
people
wait, there's more.
in the neighborhood, the folks that came to your door and sold knives? Nobody's
Knives.
Yo,
I'm not
somebody
really,
come to your
yeah.
house with a box of knives, they get shot. Like,
Yeah.
nah, bro.
That doesn't happen in Philly.
I need you to
Yeah,
not do that,
I'm
cuz.
from the project. Somebody
Yeah.
show up to your door with a box of knives. It is
Yeah, it is officially
game time.
Is the Fuller Brush Man a thing anymore?
The who what?
Do you remember the Fuller Brush Man?
You know,
What is that?
I remember the Full of Rush, man.
What is that?
guy who sells brushes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? That was a thing?
Yeah.
Like brushes for what?
Yeah, it was kind of like an Avon thing. Like the Fuller Brush Company, basically its model was to just have door-to-door salespeople selling their brushes.
appeared.
Their brushes were fuller than everyone else's? Or?
Yeah.
Nah.
Maybe. You know what I'm into though? Just to give them free airtime, those friggin' Neater Gold ads with the dude. I think his
Oh
name
yeah, yo, that boy is all over my timeline, dude.
with the beard and everything.
Yeah,
and
he sells like
and he's like getting rained on and stuff, and he's
he
just,
sells like body products and stuff like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
beard stuff, and he sells different brushes and he's a black dude. He's hysterical. Your
Yeah.
man, and he is
Oh.
all over
Okay.
my timeline, dog.
Netter Gold, yeah.
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 I was
saying it
like,
wrong. That you don't like Neater Gold.
I was like, Neater Gold, what's that?
You know what?
Yeah.
This conversation.
He's probably all over your timeline because you're like friends with me and Randy.
yeah, exactly.
That probably is true.
Exactly,
I just
dude.
outed
Yeah.
myself. I'm just like,
It's
I've been
like-
seeing all these ads.
It's like after a while, Dan is like, I don't know, Twitter changed a whole lot on me for some reason.
Yeah.
What does fleek mean?
It's true, man. It's
Yeah.
true. I feel like you could really out yourself. Be like, I'm getting so tired of these ads about like, getting the blood stains out of your clan hood all the time. Like, you guys get these ads. Everybody gets them, right? No,
Yeah, it's like
nobody knows what I'm talking about.
yeah. It's weird that how they figure out like what to send ads to you for. Like I don't know, for like a good most of the past 10 months, I've been getting advertisements for bulletproof vests. Fed
Me
straight to
too.
Facebook.
I'm not sure that that's as specialized as we think it is. I think that's part of the overall attempt to undermine our entire way of living. Like
Normally,
Yeah,
I
got
agree
this.
with you.
I
They were
really
like,
do.
You need a bulletproof backpack.
I mean, and I'm not saying this is coming from nefarious outside actors, though. I'm also not saying that couldn't be happening. I think this is the capitalist response to what's happening right now, and unfortunately, it is it is not doing great things for our general sense of security as we scroll
Right.
through our Facebook feeds.
It's
I
like you go
gotta
to the
bring this
mall.
back. I gotta bring this point back. People were selling knives in my neighborhood, and it wasn't normal.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, Pharaoh, you know that saying, never bring a knife to a gunfight? I think we'd expand it to never bring a knife to my house.
Hey,
I've always been a fan of never bring cake to a knife fight.
Oh.
Except it could work, you know.
it
Right?
could.
It's
You
okay if
you
you
might
bring
just
pie.
change the whole attitude of the knife
it's
fight.
okay if you bring pie to a cake fight.
Yes.
Like,
Encouraged, in fact.
Just like putting the cake there and getting the slices out of it and serving it up. Yeah, I could see that.
I wasn't thinking of slicing it.
Anyway,
It's going at fists.
as we were about to say,
Get handfuls of pie.
we've been busy, and a lot of stuff is coming out, including today. Our cover of Dua Lipa's "Don't Start Now" is officially released, so that you can get it on Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon, whatever you like. We put it up on YouTube, apparently, just about a year ago, but now it's actually officially out on streaming services. So go over and save that to your account. That is our first announcement of many tonight of things that you can now listen to that we have done. Don't Start Now.
It is
out
like
now.
pop, as the kids say.
Man, Rent, you say it was a year ago, but that only depends on what year it is.
What is wrong with babies?
I didn't catch that.
We have some additional people on our stream tonight. You will not see them.
Yes, and now, guess
Shout out-
what's
Shout out to Landry McMeans.
Hey!
Landry.
Word.
Shout out to voting.
uh,
Shout out to the
Shout out-
Ark, Ann Arbor.
Yes, the Ark.
Yeah,
Shout
I
out
love
to
the
Serious Rap
I
Shit
love the
Podcast.
serious rap shit shirt. It's very
Oh,
bold
man.
and bright. Jumps out.
okay.
So
Shout out to the Earth being on fire.
Yeah, pretty much. All right.
Wait, shout out to that one joint out in on the peninsula in Michigan. What was that place? It was past Green Bay. Door.
Door County. Yeah, Door
Yeah.
County. Oh, that's a cool one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They had
Word.
that whole filing system of T-shirts upstairs. Remember that? And we were just like,
Yeah,
we'll
they
take one of
did.
those.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And the spot, their sister spot down in Milwaukee, Hacienda, had some pretty good stuff too.
Word.
I actually got that. I got that armadillo tank top for my wife. It's a pretty fly look. Oh, what's up? Sorry, this is my cat. Hold on.
I was like, what's happening in
One
Dan's
sec.
house?
One sec.
That's
There we go.
our next big announcement is our special awesome guest star tonight is the cat that just walked by.
That I was gonna say.
Hope you
welcome,
enjoyed it.
cat. Okay, but he's gone now. So that was
Right.
that was a spot. Do we have any other guests lined up? Because I don't think he's
We
coming.
do. But first, we're going to make some more announcements of new Gangstagrass stuff everybody's going to be listening to soon. Coming up next week, releasing in 1 week from now on Friday, is our cover of Back in the High Life Again.
Yes.
This is so good. This is so I don't even honestly care super much for the original song. Perhaps that's a personal flaw.
All right, enough out of you.
But
It's a gem.
this
First
is
of all.
every time I listen to this song, and maybe this would happen to me after 2020 if I listened to the original song too. It might just be that I wasn't in the right place to listen to the original song previously. But this is heartfelt.
Come on, y'all.
Oh,
It is.
Hayden's Army. Welcome.
Following us on Twitch.
That sounds like a lot of
Thank
people.
Heartfelt is exactly the word. I got really excited to do this song, and I kind of want to read the second verse lyrics to everybody just to give some context here.
Here.
Because like, why are we resurrecting this classic bop, this Steve Winwood from back in the day? What, Steve Winwood doesn't need our help. Why are we doing this? Well, you used to be the best to make life be life to me, and I hope that you're still out there, and you're like you used to be. We'll have ourselves a time, and we'll dance till the morning sun, and we'll let the good times come in, and we won't stop till we're done. All right? Now, yeah, if I listen to that 2018, 2019, maybe it doesn't mean a whole lot to me at that time. But this is a song for 2021 for me. This is about, we are so excited to get back to doing what we love, and we're excited about it because we want to see you. We want to be back with the fans, and that was hard to think about last year because it was off the table, and I'm very excited to be getting back out there, and I just felt like what a great way to say that.
You picked a dope song, Dan. You picked a really dope song.
Just to give everybody a little glimpse at some cover artwork here. This is coming out next Friday. Back in the High Life again.
Yeah.
And I gotta side with M on this just a little bit. I think the original, I don't know. I think you could hear that song at the end of a Clockwork Orange type of movie, and it's really juxtaposed against something. But when you sing it, I feel happy.
Oh, you're thinking about like Walk of Life, like how every movie ends with Walk of Life. Like this is that kind of Walk of Life type song.
Yeah,
Walk of Life is inherently happy.
I mean, I don't know. Dire Straits, something about Dire Straits.
The thing with Walk of Life, the Walk of Life stuff though, is that comes on at the end of the song, and it doesn't matter what happened in the movie. It's a happy ending now.
Yes.
I think what Pharaoh's talking about is the movie that's just really dark at the end, and then this fades into a song at the end, and you're you still feel dark, but you're wait, wasn't this supposed to be a happy song? Now I'm seeing weird undertones in it, it's not actually what it seems to be on the surface.
Yeah, but that's the sort of thing where I don't know, at the end of a book like The Giver, where it's and then he got away, and then he found bright lights and happiness, and everything was great, and then the English teacher is yeah, he died in the snow. That shit didn't happen. It wasn't real. I was I don't need to hear that. I think I'm all about it's a happy ending is happy. Sometimes we don't need to look any deeper than that.
It's my real life realization with every step you take, listening to the songs and watching the music video and being no. I've been listening to this wrong.
Yo, that is sketchy from word one. That song.
Yeah, word one.
Yeah.
That the
I have that
guitar
feeling
riff. That's
about
the tiptoes of
Carey.
a stalker. Is dum 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 dum. He's coming.
Well, I have that feeling about Mariah Carey's "Always Be My Baby."
Also creepy from word one. Although I will admit I did not notice that at first. It took me long. That took a little longer.
Nothing beats "Don't Be Afraid" by Aaron Hall. Nothing.
Oh my gosh.
That is the most frightening ass song ever. And they had the nerve to redo the song. Because there's there's a version of it that makes it sound really cheerful, "Don't be afraid because God is here for you." Nah, bro. If you listen to that joint from the soundtrack, yo, he's listen here, girl. This is going to happen. Don't be afraid. Just recognize it's going to happen.
Yo.
Bro, are you?
People don't realize how gangster Guy was.
They was wild, dude.
That's other than the shootouts and stuff that he used to have with New Edition for some reason.
That was a thing. Dumb bitch was a thing.
Yo, that was a thing on the radio back when you couldn't say the word sex on the radio.
Wait, what song was that? It was
Piece of My
Love. Which, first of all, Piece of My Love was look, this is the side chick anthem.
Right. It was look, and the words was baby, you can't have all of me. I'm not totally free. I got some things that's going on. There's a few things in my past that cannot be explained.
And then every now and again in the background it goes, "I do love you." Get out of here with that mess, man.
Please hush. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Just lay back and relax.
In what era? In what, like, I missed out on
That was
the-
88, 89, something like
I
that.
didn't.
Yo,
I didn't,
I was and we were children hearing this
Right.
song on the radio. And like what the? I was like,
And then there's a weird little part in the joint, like I
just
forget,
the beginning.
like
It's the beginning part when the first chorus comes in. It's like doom 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 doom. You can have a piece of my love.
damn bitch. What? No. And I guarantee there's no. If people will try and tell you that's not what he says, that's a lie.
Wait,
Is this like
That is
a-
what does he
absolute
say?
lie.
Wait, what is
Well,
it?
the story is he was joking around when he said it, but it ended up in the final cut.
engineers, man. They're just like, nah, we'll take that out. Terrible.
No, really.
Yeah.
What was it?
Dumb bitch.
Yeah.
Is what he said.
So
Amazing.
that is a little harsher than punctuating a sentence with bitches at the
A
end.
little,
it was
a
wild.
little, yeah. Especially if like the whole theme of the song is like, I'm selling you this bill of goods, like, hey.
Apparently, a lot of people go through something when they realize what "Hey Ya" is actually talking about.
Oh man.
Right?
Oh.
That was,
Oh goodness, yeah.
Woo! I did. Yeah, that's how I learned what skeet was. That is how that happened.
With
Yep.
Mia.
Oh man, I learned about Skeet from the Yin Yang.
Wait, am I
Twins.
thinking of the wrong song? I am.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, Hey Ya is essentially, he's like, look, this isn't really a thing. Like, we're fucking. That's about it.
But he's like, but what we're gonna like stay together just because of momentum, or just to make it work, or just because of the kids or whatever. Like it's about like realizing that you're not in love, but like,
Yeah, okay.
not everything works out okay. But I'm just gonna roll with it.
Yeah,
That's not a hidden meaning.
Right?
Yeah, it's not hidden, but everybody just kind of sings along to the song.
Just because the vibe of the song is such a party vibe that everybody's like, hey, it's a party song, but the lyrics are like pretty down.
Is there any room in the song for like? I mean, I admit I'm a little Pollyanna-ish here, but I feel like, parents who lose that love for each other can get it back just by through some hard work and.
Gotta shake it like a Polaroid picture is what you gotta do.
I mean,
You gotta lend
yeah.
me some sugar. I am your neighbor.
There's another guy who's like that a bit. Wilma Houdini, Caribbean guy, and like it's like old Caribbean music, but it's all like da 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 da. But it's all political. It's all very political.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds. There's this salsa song called "No Pega la Negra," which is "Don't Beat the Black Woman." I mean, the thing is, a song, it's salsa, so it's like real upbeat. It's like, and it's like the whole song is about slavery in Caribbean, Latin America, but it's like upbeat, and you're like, if you didn't speak Spanish, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm just singing.
It's my joint.
Right.
I feel like I should point out that we have wandered fairly far off of the topic, which is Gangstagrass songs that are not about beating people up or being untrue to women or any of that.
We gotta get on those, man. Someday, someday we'll get to that.
It's just it's like the theme of Gangstagrass Team Streams is we come up with an agenda that we're going to talk about and then deviate.
But so I reject the whole premise that we got started on, which was that like Back in the High Life has some sort of other thing going. No. I don't know, frankly, and I'll look it up. I don't know what Steve Winwood was going through, what he was getting back to or from or whatever at the time that he wrote it, but boy, oh boy, it really hits in 2021 when and I'm sure everybody out there, there have been things, if you like being within 6 feet of other people, if you like spitting into each other's open mouths. Boy,
Ooh.
2020 was just not a good time for you. And now, finally, you should absolutely not get back to do that. No,
Right.
don't
Please don't
actually
do
do that ever.
If you like eating a 600-foot cheesesteak,
I heard that Steve Winwood was leaving rehab when he made that song.
Yeah.
I would believe that. I don't know if it's
back
But
in
for
the
us-
high life.
But for us, it's really gonna. For us right now, it's gonna be about our experience, which is getting back to the world. And so June 11th, when it is released, is going to be the day after our first real live in-person show in the year and a half.
Oh yeah,
So that's what that is all about.
that is gonna be awesome.
So exciting. There's a whole new set
Yeah.
I mean, there's some of their, so your old favorites are there, many of them, but there's a lot of great new stuff and stuff that hasn't, been done much or at all live before.
Mhm.
And some new arrangements.
Actually,
it's really
we've taken
exciting.
out all of the old stuff that you love, and we just
Get
play
back
Western. We play Western over and over again for an hour and a half.
That is
that's what I like.
Just
See
yell out
mooses.
animals.
I see
Bears
mooses.
coming out of
What
nowhere.
else?
I see
What else do
hay.
you see?
Yeah. And I only play the Jews harp.
Yeah.
That's good.
Possums.
So guess what's the Friday after that? June 18th is the eve of another Juneteenth. So we are putting out a new version of Freedom, which we released last year for Juneteenth. Now we've got Reese Palmer singing the chorus on it, a new beat and stuff, and just a whole new mix on it. So we are putting that out for Juneteenth by releasing it on Friday, June 18th. That is coming out too. So
And I will say that folks that I have shared this track with for the release have said it's a slap.
It is.
Yep.
It is.
So everybody out there, check out your streaming services and see if you can see what's coming up and pre-save any of it. We'll be posting, emailing out pre-save links and posting those in the coming week. So make sure you're in on that and following us on all the streaming stuff so you get all the notifications you can.
Also on June 18th, we'll be chopping it up with Reese.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Rescheduled from 2 Fridays ago. So that actually works out quite nicely. So we will celebrate the premiere of the new remix of Freedom with Reese Palmer live here at Gangstagrass.tv. That's very fun. Very excited about that.
Yeah, I got to tell you guys, man. I had a dream about our first live show, and for a hot second, D, you remember the ball on that new song that was supposed to freestyle and it froze up?
Oh,
That was me. I was like, yo, watch it. I was like, yeah, check this out.
Yeah.
I got a confession to make. I have that premonition before every time we even pre-pandemic, every time we took an extended break before going on tour, the first tour, and Arson will tell you backstage, I'll be like, yo, how does this song start?
Every time, dude.
Every time I'll be like, yo, I can't remember anything. And then for some reason, as soon as the beat starts, I go into autopilot. And
No, it's state dependent learning. Arson, you
falls
never been
right out
drunk,
of me.
but it's the same thing as if you can't do something when you're in one head state and then all of a sudden you get on the stage and the beat's rocking.
Yeah, as soon as the
it
beat
all
starts,
comes back.
it's like
It
muscle
all comes
memory.
back.
I've done that more than one time, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't even remember how it goes. But
And
it came
tonight,
out.
the
Hey,
beat-
look who's here.
Yeah.
Hey!
Hey, I haven't talked to you in a while.
What's up?
I mean, we actually talked today, so
Good. How are you guys doing?
good.
We're doing
Better
good, man.
now.
We're doing really good because we can just go out and lick people now, right? And we're just so glad that everything is just all opened up
All
and
back to
there's no
normal.
restrictions anymore.
The CDC
and nobody has
said.
to worry about any of this.
Yeah, so they say, huh?
Yeah.
People in my neighborhood, we've been leaving vials of each other's saliva on each other's doorsteps so
What?
that we can. No, I'm just kidding.
Like, that's
We
probably
swapping
not
spit. Come
great.
on, yo.
That's not a good idea.
Are we not allowed to be like doing the spit handshake again?
What did I tell you guys about spit last time? Oh my gosh. If you want to spit in each other's face every day, then do it. I see a lot of naked face breathers now.
Herd immunity, man. That's no. That's not how that works.
I don't need
I've
to be
been straight
talking.
up.
Yeah.
I've been straight up telling folks that were like, they're like, the only reason you don't like the mask is because you found out what your breath smell like.
Brutal.
That's you.
No, I really do think that's the truth. And if we had a really strong national dentistry campaign in addition to the strong mask wearing campaign, I think we'd all be a lot better off. I work sometimes at an outdoor office in my neighborhood that they created during this time, and they give you a welcome packet. I have it around here somewhere, and the welcome packet. Oh yeah, here it is. The welcome packet includes several things, including mints. It has mints in it, like just to encourage you to wear your mask.
Right. Yeah, take this mint so you can wear your mask, so you can tolerate what's going on in your face.
I feel like it does. That should be a pretty strong incentive. The fact that we all know that that's what's going on. That's the reason people are so resistant to these masks. Like, maybe you should maybe not be so resistant to the mask because you're just telling us all what the state of your dental hygiene is without us having to get anywhere near you.
I don't understand humanity because at this point in where we are, we've gotten a lot of people in the G7 countries vaccinated. But the mutant variants are popping up in the countries that nobody cares about that aren't going to get vaccinated for years if we don't have a concerted effort right now. So it's weird that by this time people still don't understand how connected we all are. COVID's trying to teach us, but we're reluctant.
That's a great point. It's a great point. And especially now that we're seeing, and I'm sure you're seeing this where you are in Indianapolis, and I'm sure they're seeing it in Philly. We're seeing it in DC and Baltimore, where people where there were big lines to get the vaccine, now it's like there's overstocks of vaccines because basically everybody who really wanted to get it has gotten it, and now we're down to kids and stuff, but that's a kind of particular procedure where you have to have the parents there and everything, so it's a whole thing. And so we're ending up with a lot of sort of excess vaccines, and it seems to me that centrally we ought to be looking at this and getting those vaccines out to other countries as quickly as possible, and hopefully we'll convince the rest of our population to get vaccinated soon enough, and and at that point we'll have plenty, we'll be able to produce it, etc. But right now we've got a lot of vaccine that if we don't get it into arms, it's going to go bad, and we should get it to the places where they need it.
Well, it's like we need they say that we're like a third of what adults, maybe we're even at a half now, have had both doses, which it's an important milestone, but we need to understand that doesn't imply that we'll necessarily close the gap with the other half, right? Like, these are the last holdouts. These are the wackadoos from all demographics who, are just their cacophony of, hysteria is just deafening at this point. The conversations that we have now are more about, a broader conspiracy, like the entire, governments involved in, getting people sick on purpose so they could give out a fake vaccine, which is, in fact, the plot of a lot of movies and TV series. So I understand why it's so believable.
I do have a question
it's
about
difficult. That. Yeah.
If you get a vaccine and your microchip doesn't work, can you get your money back?
Yeah, I'm because mine is whack.
Yo, the vaccine was free, no refunds.
My 5G isn't any better.
Guess you get what you pay for, huh?
I don't know.
I can't find my daughter right now on her phone because she got hers. I can't find her, and I'm kind of upset. I want to know.
Mine came with Disney Plus.
Oh, word. Okay.
The cognitive dissonance is crazy though, because these people are they're so paranoid about control, but the government controls every aspect of our lives, down to our wombs. Like, what are we talking about? It's like there's a reality that we live in, and a lot of people have deluded themselves. They don't realize the cage that we're all in. So it's just odd to me that the one thing that could save everyone's life is the one thing that we're focused on as like, oh, that's the grand conspiracy.
What's the craziest thing you've heard?
It's got to be the Nation of Islam. Shout out to Farrakhan. Thank you for undoing all of some of your well-intentioned, though hugely bigoted work. You know, they have a lot of Black people believing it's a grand conspiracy, and there's a lot of spiritual elements mixed into it, like this, like 666 keeps coming up, and you know, they think it's a grand conspiracy to call all of us, which I don't disagree with wholly,
Right.
maybe in part.
Well, that's the thing.
There's
There's always a
lack
grain
of
of truth.
response is for
There's
us
always a
to
grain of
just
truth in
finish,
any of
right?
this stuff.
Yeah,
Right. The grain of truth in the conspiracy of the culling is that there is a pandemic, yes. There is a vaccine that can prevent you becoming seriously ill of it. The conspiracy is the disinformation campaign that is directed at marginalized communities to convince them to not take the vaccine.
So that you will perish, like we are doing already.
Right. So it's basically like saying, okay, there is a drought. Tell all the poor people that the water is poison.
Poison. Come on, Dolio. The water is poisoned. Period.
They will die of thirst.
Yeah.
Come on.
That is the conspiracy.
Come on, man.
The conspiracy is telling people is convincing people not to take the vaccine. Because and as a black man, I find it insulting because of so much of this disinformation getting directed at our community from people within our community. And I'm just like, okay, if this vaccine is some sort of trickery, then why are the very people who are telling you to take the vaccine taking the vaccine?
Not only that, why are they not bothering to make sure your black ass got it too? You know,
why are they making sure that it's harder for you to get it?
Yeah, they're not like going out of their way to make sure we get the poison at all. And not only that, but you know, the trickery within the Nation of Islam is that the trade-off is they're hawking this $90 per 2-ounce vial of spray for your tongue.
Oh no!
That'll boost your immune system.
Yeah, I didn't even see the spray thing.
All of the scientists of the Nation of Islam, I guess, formulated that.
Yeah, the thing that keeps coming out that I keep seeing getting hawked by some of the cats with the disinformation is colloidal silver. Which is like the snake oil that's been peddled for, I don't know how many decades for every known illness.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have any real use other than turning your skin blue permanently.
Blue, right? Yeah.
So if you want to be a Smurf, go ahead. Take colloidal silver.
It's not good too. There's some negative health effects for it.
I was gonna say, is there anything bad about it? Because that sounds great.
Yeah,
right, you can turn into a Smurf.
As Hunter S. Thompson said,
you could also use your blood. You could also use your blood to develop film.
Right. I think there seriously is like at a certain point you do get heavy metal poisoning from that, so it's not good. And from what I understand, Fox is also back on the hydroxychloroquine.
I just saw those something about that too.
It's if Fox News viewers want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and put a word in for hydroxychloroquine, which is with climate change, with global warming, we're going to have more and more mosquitoes with malaria here in the United States, and maybe we are actually going to need to take hydroxychloroquine as a preventative, which is the thing that it's intended for.
I like some of
the
Dr.
going to a lot of it's going to a lot of trouble to take things that aren't regulated, don't even have ingredient lists, if you're so scared or paranoid of like what's in everything. Like what's in it is right there for you to like see.
Right. Like, are you reading what's in the soda you're getting from the store?
Right. It's like, cause I don't want to, and it's like, wait. I'm sorry. It's just I get aggravated by social media because I'm just like, it's like.
But none of that matters. None of it matters. Even if it was manufactured in the lab in Wuhan, even if all of the virus, even if the virus was a grand conspiracy, it's here.
Right. It's here.
I understand.
Make sure it stops mutating. Take the vaccine. Who cares?
I understand. You're a doctor, right? But my man on YouTube said that if I have the hydroxychloroquine in a milkshake, not only will it keep me from getting the COVID, it'll make me stronger. Therefore, I don't need your vaccine. So,
And that guy was wearing a lab coat.
Yes.
Yeah. And
No, that was a clan robe.
And furthermore, I found that on my own, and so I did my own research. And that's ultimately...
Oh, that's the number one thing. Everybody's
Yeah.
always just like, well, that's your science, it's my science. No.
I can agree to disagree on science.
Science is science. Like, where is Mr. Wizard when you need him? I don't know.
That's right. You're getting your science from the same place I get my cat videos.
We do need to remind people the actual definition of research, which is not just reading something. Like research is like going to find the source material to actually like try to prove yourself wrong, go look up the original sources and verify through multiple sources. And research is not just like, oh, I watched something.
Yeah, and we even talked with David Dylan Thomas. Yeah, and we talked to David Dylan Thomas about bias, right? We talked to a bias expert about, and like, you know, confirmation bias is where you see something and and it agrees with you and you think, you know, I bet that's right. That sounds very smart. That sounds like the right idea. And like that's not research.
Right. And nor is it just on the multiple sources thing, you know, nor is one something that ultimately gets traced back to the exact same source or to not a reliable source. You actually need multiple good sources. And even then, like multiple good sources can get something wrong. You know, I spend a lot of time.
It's not about getting it wrong, though. It's about the word research. You're going to search over and over and over and over and over and over again until you refine your understanding of the world around us.
Yeah.
That's why things change over time, because we pick up new data and we see things in new ways. We shift our paradigm. That's how we figured out how to make an mRNA vaccine.
Right.
That's
how they figured out that Lysol was not a good feminine hygiene product.
That is how they figured that out. Yep.
Yeah.
But so can I ask you then, like, just as an example of this, like you're, you know, obviously somebody who knows a lot about this virus and how viruses work in general, but with you too, like I'm sure there are things over the past year, I mean months, I don't know, like what's something that you would point to as like, here is something where our understanding of it has evolved as an example of what you're talking about, where you know, are continually thinking about stuff. It's not that you're just like calcified and like, this is what I know and I've known it forever and it doesn't ever change.
And that's the most frustrating part about watching everyone react to science happening in real time. You feel me? Like, because in the beginning, and there's a whole conspiracy now, everyone wants to out Fauci, like he's like the head of, like they literally think that he planted the lab and funded the research in Wuhan. Like that's how deep the delusion is. But like, I'm serious. And then like, but back then, when it first, like around this time last year, you know, everyone keeps pointing towards how at first they didn't advise us about masks. But I would beg everyone to remember that our president was advising us to drink bleach. Okay, so there wasn't a lot of
bleach injected into your veins,
and also gagging all of the other scientific groups that could have told us the right thing. We're not allowed to say anything. So let's
He also got rid of the pandemic response team.
Right, all of that. And so, like for that, with that example, it took that 7, 8, 9 months, you know, of time that passed for us to realize just how long COVID persisted in the air. Let's say, like the droplets, just to find out how long, you know, people. The sort of incubation period, how long someone could carry around COVID asymptomatically or be transmitting it. It took us a while to figure out what that period was.
We had the droplets
we figured it out, we revised and said, guess what? You need your mask. Now, even now, the CDC has like made, I think, a hasty revision that could be confusing to people. And especially considering the nuance of the fact that, like I said, half of us, the half that ate vaccinated, the majority of them have been resistant to wearing masks and think it's a hoax anyway. They're not even taking it seriously. So it's not reasonable to presume that just because we're at this milestone that we're going to get any further right now without an incentive from the government, from businesses, from states and legislators to push people to actually want or mandate or have to get vaccinated or to put in place certain, vaccine passports for certain things, just like we do for everything. There's so many professions that you have to have certain vaccines for. It's absurd, but it's highly politicized, and it's unfortunate because what it does is make the people that are already vulnerable even more vulnerable and give the rest of these toddlers further permission to endanger their lives because everyone thinks it's like mask off, okay, fuck it, mask off. And it's unfortunate because the people who are on the front lines, people who are the essential workers, they're the ones, like even now, like I don't know what it's like where you guys are from, but a lot of the people here, they're so vocal and intrusive about it. Like they want to let you know it's okay to take your mask off. Don't worry about what I do, and please don't speak to me in public with no mask on your face, or really ever, like people are so overbearing. The same people that are like, don't tread on me, are steady in your face asking you why you still got a mask on, like there's something wrong with you. Right. I'm just at the place where I'm ready to start letting people spit in my face again. I don't know about everybody else.
Yeah. Now, I'm trying to, because I've been trying to figure this out. If you're, and it's like someone has to have told you this. How are people justifying they aren't wearing masks anymore, but they're not getting the vaccine too? Like, how does that? Because if you're not wearing a mask, maybe you're vaccinated and you're like, you know what? I feel confident in the science that I've been healthy enough. Okay, fine. If you are wearing a mask, you're like, I don't trust this vaccine. I'm not, I'm gonna wear my mask. Okay, fine. If you're not doing either one, where is that? Like, how does that?
I don't understand that risk tolerance matrix. Let's start there. I don't know what that looks like as far as their mindset.
Well, we did actually, if I may throw out some things that we saw in our Facebook comments recently. We had our, it was in our top dozen most engaged and most viewed posts ever.
Oh, wow.
Where we talked about how, we posted a photo of a rehearsal that was outside where everybody was masked.
Oh, I saw this.
And and the engagement on that was off the charts, and it was people arguing with each other about whether we were terrible people for suggesting that people continue to wear masks, or at least for us continuing to wear masks as a personal choice. Versus people who were like, wow, we really appreciate that you are paying attention to the science, because what the science says is essentially that it's a numbers game. And, because people who get the vaccine can still spread the virus, though it does appear they shed much less of it, so at a much lower rate, which is good. But because that can still happen, if you have everybody walking around without masks on, then you've still got the virus spreading around all over the place. Yep. And there's still, as you pointed out, half the population or so that is not vaccinated and is not protected. So we end up continuing to spread the virus and making these even worse potentially variants happening because there's so much spread. And it's really just a numbers game. And in particular, I mean, our reasoning is partly that, and also partly because we know we do have vulnerable people in our lives who, for whatever reason, cannot get the vaccination. Either they're too young or
that's the best reason. Right. How about all the unvaccinated people are kids?
Right. Three of us have, four of us all have kids who are too young to get vaccines.
My kid is every time he goes to the pediatrician every couple of weeks, he's on this huge schedule of vaccinations. He gets vaccinated for measles. He gets vaccinated for all the hepatitis. I didn't even know about all the different hepatitis, and I've never gotten hepatitis, and he's never going to get hepatitis.
It's a multiple
take a vaccine. Okay. When you get a spare time, thank your vaccine. That's why you have never had hepatitis.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
That's why we haven't had, polio
Measles.
and measles.
I never had
mumps,
it. I never had
don't even
polio,
know what
never had-
rubella is.
Yeah, what the hell is
What
rubella?
is rubella?
You done wiped that shit out.
Rubella.
And that's actually, you know, Randy made a great
Thank
point
you,
at one point.
vaccines.
That's right. And Randy was making a great point about that at one point. He was like, you know what I want to see? I want to see COVID go the way of rubella, where it like nobody ever gets it and it's off the face of the map, and also like nobody politicizes it and makes it into this weird thing where it's like, let's bring it back, like let's bring measles back. Like
Right.
why?
Nobody has
no,
had
let
ru-
it die like rubella. Like
That's it.
Nobody has had rubella
different.
since they were naming their kids Gladys.
Yes. However, these are different vaccines, and it is worth making that distinction, as I'm sure Dr. Nisi will elaborate upon. But there are some vaccines that actually do give you actual immunity that prevent you from not just getting too sick from the virus or disease, but from catching it at all, from getting it at all, from being able to spread it at all. And unfortunately, this vaccine, though highly, amazingly effective at making sure you don't land in the hospital, not 100%, but very close, it does not prevent the spread, and as a result is not a vaccine that could really eradicate this virus.
Some of them do have good efficacy in reducing transmission because of the antibodies in your like nose and mouth that you produce. Mm-hmm. But you're right, it's not like a magic bubble. If you still walk around naked face breathing because you think it's time to take your mask off, COVID can still float into your mouth. But if you're vaccinated, you'll have a better chance of finding out. I don't understand. I'm just trying to keep it simple, you know what I mean? Because if you want people to keep spitting on you, that's fine, but...
That's just a great phrase. Naked face breathing is an amazing phrase. I love it.
It does bring up one of our favorite conspiracy theories lately, which I actually love because I feel like it actually came from somebody who doesn't believe it, but figured out how to weaponize the vulnerability to misinformation of the anti-vax people themselves, which is the theory that there's a vaccine shed that comes off of vaccinated people, and so you should wear your mask.
Oh my God, I have heard that.
That came up in our comments. Yeah, the only thing you have to worry about is whatever you're shedding from that vaccine.
I would like to address that.
Wait,
though,
and for the record, for those people, that's true. That's true.
Right.
So wear your mask to protect yourself from vaccinated people.
Right, yes, but also please wear your mask.
Yo, my barber told me that. My son's old barber. He was like, "Yeah, if you get the shot, I'm not letting people that are vaccinated back in my shop because
that's absurd."
And that's why this is your son's old barber.
Because it comes off on you. It comes off on you, and then I had my mask on when he was telling me this, so I wasn't like, really.
I'm sure
really?
You waited till after you finished cutting your hair before you told him, right?
I was like, this.
I'll be walking through the grocery store, like, talking mad.
Yeah. We can probably allot like the next 5 minutes to talk about people are absurd. We know this.
Yeah.
It's true. And I think it's a given.
Yo, they were fighting and shooting each other over a chicken sandwich last year.
I would address the thing about, like, the vaccine shedding because there's also a big conspiracy now about how, I guess, either the nanoparticles or the spike protein persists, after the vaccine, or I don't even know what the basis of it is, but it was because they released some of the reports about the studies in rats, and I guess they were looking for traces of nanoparticles. So that's what you do in toxicology to find out what organs they go to and how much is left over. There wasn't much of anything. That's besides the point. But what I do want people to know is that, first of all, if you're getting the vaccine, what you want, even if there was spike protein floating around in your body, that's what you want. So that all your immune cells seek it out, find it, record it, keep it in their memory banks, and can fight it off the next time they see it. But that's not what happens when you get the injection in your arm. The cells throw a party on top of the cells that get the secret code from the mRNA vaccine. Throw a party on top of the cell surface, and they just kind of like show it, right? So everybody's just like, here's the spike protein, you know what I mean? And so it never leaves the surface.
I'm sorry, could you do that one more time?
And so it never leaves the surface of the cell. It's not circulating in your system, although wouldn't be a bad thing. So that's bunk. So
yeah, if we shed the virus or if we shed the vaccine, we wouldn't need everybody to get vaccinated. We just all walk around barefaced. All us vaccinated people just walk around barefaced, breathing as heavily as we could, and just share the vaccine. Alas, it does not work that way.
But for the public service announcement portion of this, I think we should make sure to remind people that the guidelines that are coming out for vaccinated people to ease up on some of the restrictions are designated for the safety of groups that are vaccinated. But what we're seeing is a lot of unvaccinated people take on those same easing up on restrictions, and it's not necessarily showing up in the infection rate because the vaccinations and things are that group of people, the group of people who are vaccinated, their infection rate has gone down dramatically. But actually, the infection rate of the people that are unvaccinated, who are now like freeing up because they're following the guidelines for vaccinated people, are actually going up dramatically, which kind of balances out on the overall average, so you don't see it. But what's going on under the surface there is we're getting a lot more infections in people that are unvaccinated because they're feeling like it's party time too.
Yeah, and that's the protection of herd immunity. That's the protection of the vaccine. If we don't all take it at once, then all the holdouts are the hosts for mutant parties, and so they're all cooking at mutant variants. And then over time, we'll have boosters and stuff. They're working on them. I'm sure we'll probably have one maybe by the end of this year. But the longer we let people hold out, the worse it is for all of us, because it affects all of us. We're connected. I don't know how else to say it. Like, you let them cook up mutants, and eventually they're going to be able to escape our immunity. And then we're going to get another wave, and all of us are going to get some new strain. So
you said it away just early on when you just came on, Dr. Anissa. I think you said it in a really cool way that I'm going to kind of marinate on for a little while, which was that you said, like, the people might be worried about conspiracies or ideas from people trying to cut us off, but we're also all in the same cage, where it's not some group of people trying to cage another group of people. The cage is biological. Like, the conspiracy is a virus that's trying to kill us all, and we're all on the same team against that virus. So, like, our discussions about what should we do to all survive this? Oh, I think we should all do X, and having reactions from people like, oh, why are you trying to make me do something? Like, well, are you trying to do something to me? Like, no, I'm trying to get us all through the other end of this cage as a group to survive, because the enemy right now is the virus. We're all on the same side against that, and that's what we need to try to keep in mind is getting people to see us all on the same team.
And when it comes to the perception part of that, can I just maybe add a little bit, since we're talking about this post that we had on our profile, on our page, with all these comments, seemingly almost like creating like the perception of like a 50-50 divided, like there's so many comments, like the comments up top, the beginnings of the threads are all like, you won't see me doing this, and then like 5 people following, but so it seems like there's a lot of that. And then you go into I'm in here in like the creator studio thing, and I'll tell you transparently, 2 people have hidden this post, and 3 people have said, hide all posts. I don't want to have anything to do with Gangstagrass.
And nobody has unfollowed. When I looked last night, 0 people have unfollowed in spite of the threats that they made.
There's that. Also, there's
talking to you guys anymore.
There's no wow reacts. There's no sad reacts. There's no angry reacts. There's 7 laugh reacts. 7. So what we're talking about here is actually, there's a perception of, boy, both sides are really equal in this. Like, so many people believe this. And yes, and I don't want to downplay, like, a lot of people are deluded. But, part of it is just the very landscape of social media. Facebook, these platforms are not designed well. They're designed not poorly, they're designed badly. Like the way that it works, the way that it makes people see things and think things.
It's not about the way that they're designed, it's the way they're perceived. People believe social media is one thing when it is another thing. Basically, it is a digital representation of a public bathroom wall.
Well, but more so, if you took that public bathroom wall and installed an algorithm into it, it like amplifies the smell of the feces. Something like it's advanced technology. It's not just if it was just a wall, I could go in there with a Sharpie. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's more than that.
Not,
I'm pointing this out because it seems, if you look at the comments, it seems like a big, vibrant, a lot of voices on both sides, a lot of fine thoughts and comments on both sides.
Yeah,
this is not a both sides thing.
No,
but it looks that
because one side is very vocal. The thing is, one side is going to be very vocal about one thing, and the other side is more like, this conversation is not worth my time.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because you realize, okay, when you argue with an idiot, people observing the conversation cannot tell the difference between the two of you. So now it looks like two idiots arguing.
Well, and that's a good point too, because I think a lot of the time, it's like, how much work do you really want to put into this broken system? But if you are having a conversation on Facebook, you got to bear in mind, like, a lot of the time you're really not, your goal shouldn't be to talk to the person you're talking to, because they're not necessarily listening. But other people will see it because it's a public forum. So as long as you're making a sound argument and you make stating your points clearly and fairly, the person you're talking to, not even in the one ear to go out the other ear. But maybe somebody else will see it. Maybe somebody else sees what you're saying and says, all right, that other person does seem to be an idiot, but you're actually making a lot of sense.
Right. I'm not going to waste any spit arguing with somebody about me taking precautions to protect my family after attending as many funerals as I have over the past year. If they have a gripe about me wearing a mask to protect my child, quite frankly, and I'm not a person...
They should see your arsenal if they're worried about your mask.
Right.
What else you have to protect your child?
And all your friends wearing masks to protect your child too.
They don't need to know about my arsenal.
Sorry.
But you know what though? I wanted to go back to a point you made about gag orders on helpful research, because like this is the thing that always got me with all the conversations about gun violence. That always got me was the Dickey Act. Like, if the CDC can't even research what kind of a problem gun violence is, like, isn't that the real problem? Like, they're not allowed to research it.
Yeah, I mean,
the real problem is that we're not like looking at. Some of us don't look at society for what it is, and so perhaps from my perspective, I don't know why anyone would want to give up their guns. They have so much fun killing people with them, but I feel like a lot of what we try to do with hood medicine is like, we're not trying, my philosophy is like, we're not trying to win the argument. We're not trying to be declared right. I'm not trying to convince you that I'm right. I'm not even trying to give you over to an understanding in any exchange that I have, especially with contrarians, because they are pretty persistent. I just like to be open to answer questions until you have no more questions. And for the most part, it works, because by the end, people are like, oh, I get it. Okay. But for the people who have really extreme beliefs, our only goal is to sow doubt.
Right.
Like, our aim is to use the same tactics that any other brilliant propagandist would use, or marketer, or anyone else, to make the truth digestible and convincing, just the same way they do with lies.
I think there's another path. There's a middle path, and it's like talking, like in conversation with each other, displayed, so people know that there is a language to this. There's a meaningful effort behind it, backed by a language. And I want to jump off of that point, because you are my update for everything that's going on with coronavirus. So could you possibly draw a picture of what the growth of these mutations is outside the United States and what's going on internationally with the virus? Because I do feel very sheltered here in the States right now from the bigger problems that are going on, because I hear things loosening up here way too quickly, but there's devastation going on and things.
That's pretty much, that epitomizes, I think, everyone's experience, is that we're very selfish here, we're very self-centered, nationalist, and so fascist even, and so we don't care about the people and the suffering in the world. Like, it's fashionable now. I guess India had to run out of wood to burn the bodies before people started conceding that we needed vaccine diplomacy. And now we're seeing, an outbreak surge in Africa where there's a Delta variant that came out of India. There's probably others. I would imagine there's one that they just announced this week from Nepal, Vietnam. All of the places nobody cares about, right? That's where they're cooking. That's where they're going to come from. And since we are partying and going and hanging out on their islands and making us make us Mai Tais, we're not safe. We're not closing the airports. We're not closing the ports. We're living the high life, like we always do. And so it's unfortunate because it's that greed and depravity that has somehow blinded us to our connection. Our ultimate connection, even if you don't think we're existentially connected, that you should care about humankind if you're a part of it. Literally. Some of us probably don't belong in it. But COVID will show you better than I can tell you, or anyone, how connected we are. And that's the problem. Yeah.
Here. There's one of the variants that they've found appears to be essentially a hybrid of the UK and the Indian strain, which is not great. And when you start seeing stuff like that, you're going to be seeing the hybrids of the Brazil strain and the Florida spring break strain and things like that. So
the thing is that they're not just hybrids anymore. It's like a triple mutant. Or that's they're really misnomers. Maybe they just kind of say that to make it
what's
for the
better
public
language
to understand. But what's
Right,
really happening is there's a collection of mutations they're cherry picking, because that's what happens in evolution.
Right, it's like the
I know I still believe in it, but in evolution you pick the best traits for survival of the fittest.
It's a
So a lot of these
Kelly remix
mutants
of
have
the mutants.
multiple 11, 12 mutations, all the good ones
They're
from all the
really
variants.
right, and by good ones we mean good for the virus. Things like more contagious and
more
right.
Which usually connotates that it finds clever ways to lay low while you spread it around, naked face breathing everywhere. Until you get
tastier.
What's up with this virus? Why is it mutating so much? Is that an abnormal trait of it, or
because of us?
Viruses do.
The sheer number of hosts.
Because of us. Because we.
Imagine if you look at it if you were trying to crack a password and you hit it with a brute force attack. That means you tried as many options as you could to guess this password. Imagine it like this. This would be the equivalent of taking, a massive amount of tries to crack the password to get in there. And that password is the infection. It's like, okay, how do I crack the code to get into this person's immune system and shut it down?
It's mutating in our cells. Remember, when it infects your cells, it's taking over your copy machine to make its own copies. Yeah. Only the inks don't match up, so it's errors there. That's how the mutations pile up, is because of the copying. But it's copying in your cell, but not just in one cell. Multiple viral particles are copying itself in multiple cells. So there's multiple chances for mutation within one individual.
So
okay.
Does it operate? Because I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, the cold virus is another type of COVID, right?
Well, there's different kinds of cold viruses. There's rhinoviruses,
Yeah.
there's coronaviruses. So some common colds are coronaviruses, which is how we knew that you would be able to get COVID over and over again, because coronaviruses you can get over and over again, even the same strain. There's been good research on that, out of Columbia University and elsewhere since before this pandemic started.
Then how's the growth rate of this virus differing from the others in this strain?
Well, this one kills people. That's really why we notice.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's probably pretty similar if I had to guess, because if you think about, well, maybe not. I mean, I guess maybe not. I don't know, because it's like not everybody goes to the doctor when they have the flu or whatever. Like they only have so many cases. But if you can imagine how many people like get sick or get the flu, every flu season, because either they don't get vaccinated, a lot of people don't get flu vaccines, and because we didn't have this mask culture, so we've literally just spit on each other all the time. That's how we transmit disease, right? And so,
was the infection rate higher with COVID-19 because of its ability to stay alive outside the host a little bit longer? So somebody who had it, who touched something, that's still on there hours later when somebody else happens to touch it, and so it was able to spread better that way.
I don't think that they determined pretty early that even though obviously there is transmission risk with surfaces, that it was the breath that was the most troubling thing. It's like the breath droplets are really small and they can linger in the air for a long time. So that's part of why it's so contagious, and people not being behaviorally, socially able to, change their lifestyles enough to make it harder for it to be transmitted that way. And the other problem is that because of what I was saying about that latent period, about how long you could walk around asymptomatic or before you fall ill. So there's a little bit more of a lag there, and so some people are just spreading it. And if no one's adopting the preventative measures and they're just going around spreading it until they figure out that they're sick, or maybe they don't even know, they never knew. A lot of people are just asymptomatic, so there's all these avenues for spread, and our behavior isn't helping at all. It's helping the virus, it's not helping humanity.
Right, exactly. So there's a couple, we're a bit short on time because we do still have to make the biggest ass announcement of all the big ass announcement. But there's still a few more things to get through here really quickly. One is, just briefly, one of the comments that came up in the long thread that Dan rightly pointed out was not a 50-50 thing, but one of the sort of loud comments was, don't give an experimental vaccine to kids. And you've addressed this on our stream before, but could you real quickly talk about just how not experimental the mRNA vaccines are?
Yeah, they're not very experimental at all. We've done a really bad job of educating the public of what it is. It's a vaccine platform. It's a vaccine platform that we have developed over the past three decades, and that, coupled with the knowledge that we had from SARS about coronaviruses, is how we were able to get it ready so quickly. And not only that, but it was just like a coordination. If at any given time, a lot of people are employing these vaccines for different uses, and all kinds of other experimental vaccines for all kinds of uses that don't have anything to do with vaccines necessarily. And so a lot of people have access to the technology. And so if you can imagine, when this happened, the whole world just stopped on a dime and started doing COVID research, right? So we're talking about a concerted effort of hundreds, thousands of scientists. Unprecedented. So that's how it happened so fast. It's because everybody stopped what they were doing and tried to figure this out, because they could see that all the naked space breathers didn't want to listen to reason. So we should be glad that we had the technology and the knowledge, and that we were where we are in society now to be able to swiftly combat this emerging virus.
That's super helpful. That this point that it's not experimental because this technology has been developed over the past 3 decades. We just really quickly applied it to this virus in order to try to save as many lives as possible, and that was a huge effort of many scientists and a lot of resources.
Brilliant, and it will push us into the modern era of personalized medicine, because it was taking a while for people to kind of get used to the fact, they were using it in clinical trials with cancer and stuff like that. And cancer is always something that people are willing to be a little bit more experimental on, just to improve like terminal cases and life expectancy. So just having that, data out there was probably helpful also in convincing people that it was worthwhile pursuit.
Right on. So. Thank you. So that's super helpful. 2 more things. One is, again, from the comments. Someone asked, if you can still get and spread the virus, what's the point of the vaccine? We've talked a little bit about this, but if you want to give a quick summary of what's the point of the vaccine if we can still catch it and spread it, which we can
again,
to a lower degree.
It's not a magic. Yeah, it's not a magic space bubble. It's not a protection force field. It's a way to train your immune system to be really great bouncers for the nightclub that is your body. Okay, and so the whole existence of a vaccine, implicit in that, is that you will get infected again. A vaccine is to prevent you from either getting sick or developing disease. In this case, like I said, if you want to walk around with your mouth open, COVID can still fly into it, right? It's a particle. It can still travel on air currents into your open mouth. Yeah. That has nothing to do with a vaccine. That's a physical property of nature. It can float on air currents. So, of course, you can still get introduced to it, but with a vaccine, it greatly reduces your chances of passing it on, and it greatly reduces your chances of getting sick. The aim of the vaccine when they developed it was to stop people from overloading the hospitals and hopefully not dying, right? That's what it was. It was causing such severe illness, death, widespread death all over the world, that the aim of the virus wasn't to, it is to eradicate it, but y'all ain't gonna let that happen. But the aim of the vaccine was really to make sure that we could prevent serious illness, and that's what it's for. You may still get reinfected. You shouldn't, but with the mutant variants, if they mutate and they change, the antibodies that you made from that vaccine are not going to match up to the mutant variant. They're just not, because that's the point of a mutation. It changes you into something else, right? So that's why, it's about risk. If you want to take your mask off and not get vaccinated, do you? But if you want to give yourself the best chance of protection, listen to the people that do this for a living.
So again, to be clear, getting the vaccine does greatly reduce your chance of spreading it and getting a serious case.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. The efficacy of the mRNA vaccines, they're both around 95%, and then the J&J viral vector is about 60, 70 or something. And so they're really effective at preventing transmission. I don't know what that means in the context of the masks or how that has influenced the calculation in terms of that, but but it also, they all also have a certain degree of protection against transmission, and I guess anywhere from 60 to 80% from what I remember, and they're all hovering around 100% effective at preventing severe illness. So it's really about long COVID. If you want to be taking maintenance drugs for the rest of your life and having heart, muscle atrophy and all kinds of permanent brain damage and everything else, then it's about risk tolerance. If that's what you want to roll the dice on, please, by all means. I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe remember that you're rolling the dice for everybody else too.
Yes, you are.
As you do that, Because even if the vaccinated people are only spreading 5% as much as unvaccinated people, there's still that spread. And as Dr. Nisi has said very clearly, those mutations have more opportunities the more spread there is.
And the kids, quick point about the kids, they are germ buckets. They are the spreaders. They don't always get sick. They have really robust immune systems. Some of them do. That's why you need to vaccinate them. Because you never know if your child's going to be the one that just sneezes or the one that perishes, unfortunately. But or
the one that licks your nose.
Right, but they are part of the community spread equation.
Or the one that kills your grandparents.
Exactly. And and hopefully the grandparents are all vaccinated by now, but a lot of the kids aren't, and hundreds, thousands of kids have died of this. And so just because it's a much lower number than the closing in on 1 million Americans who have died of this virus, it's still it is not okay for hundreds of thousands of children to have died.
There's kids that have problems. Kids are having heart attacks at football practice.
Right,
now.
And that's not from the vaccine.
Kids are going through long COVID too. Mm-hmm. They might not be in the ICU on ventilators, but they will be dealing with it for the rest of their lives.
And it's important to bear in mind that as the overall numbers go down, there can be a false perception of, if we're doing 50, 80% better than we were, there's fewer cases and there's fewer deaths, that somehow the kids, if you're unvaccinated, then somehow you are 50 to 80% safer. And in only one way, which would be, if there are fewer cases, then maybe the odds go down that you were exposed to someone who has it. Yes, but the virus hasn't changed to become less dangerous to a person who is unvaccinated. So the risk is, in many ways exactly the same. And it's not magically becoming safer for someone who's unvaccinated. So, my kid can't get vaccinated. I mean, I don't know if you have any ideas as to when, an under 2-year-old is going to have a vaccine available to them. I certainly hope that it's soon, but.
Yeah, so as we all know, the Pfizer is approved for 12 and up. And Moderna just reported from their clinical trial that they also saw 100% efficacy in 12 to 17, I believe was the group. Mm-hmm. And then, so I would imagine that submission might go in sometime this summer soon, I would imagine. Pfizer is anticipating submitting the data for approval for ages 2 to 11 in September, October. And then infants and toddlers, probably Q1. It takes a little bit longer with the babies because the first thing they have to do is figure out dosing. And then, if you can imagine, they start really, really, really low. So,
and
it's
that changes,
more of
at every weight level. I mean, just giving them Tylenol is you have to read the thing and are you 18 pounds or 24 pounds?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Right. But the nice thing is that, hopefully, I don't know, but, a lot of the women who were pregnant or gave birth, obviously, they've seen, maternal antibodies persisting in breast milk for a long time, and the vaccinated women are helping their babies out in that way. So hopefully, over time, and then by the turn of next year, we'll have those in for the younger kids.
Hopefully. And I just want to bring it back to this danger, not just for adults, but also for children, of long COVID, because we're not just talking about a cold that either kills you or doesn't. We're not just talking about, either you survive or you don't. We're talking about real damage to organs that we're seeing not just in people who had severe COVID, but even in people who had asymptomatic or low symptomatic COVID. They're still finding damage to the heart, damage to the lungs, internal organs getting messed up in these kind of really dramatic ways, that we're going to be paying the price for this for a long time. So every bit of prevention is not just preventing, a death or a spread. It's preventing you potentially from, any kind of really severe effects on your heart, on your lungs, on all of those really vital organs that you need in order to be
surviving. Need them all.
That's right. It hits them all. Exactly. It is a full body thing. And we went through all those phases where like, it's respiratory, it's, oh wait, maybe everything. It's circulatory. Oh wait, it's everything. And also to go back really quickly to the droplets point, we actually did have that information about how long we knew droplets aerosolized, as in super tiny droplets, stayed floating in the air of COVID, remaining infectious for at least 3 hours. We had that information from Johns Hopkins and like a really robust group of organizations back in April of 2020. That's how long we knew that. It took the CDC an entire year to update its guidance to say, oh yeah, it can remain in the air in aerosols. But we had the science showed that a year before the CDC came out with that. So, like, by all means, pay attention to what the CDC is saying, but also remember that, there are political things in effect as well. And we need to, to the extent that we can pay attention to the real research, that's great. And then, also, as much as cases are going down, that has to do with vaccinations. It also has to do with the season. We've seen this throughout the world, that as winter is coming, the cases get higher, and we can imagine, a winter in the U.S. where people are like, we can be unmasked and we can see our families for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, and ending up with a January very much like the one that we just had. And that's definitely a concern, and something that, a lot of people want to say we're out of the woods yet. And there's a lot of reasons to believe that we should maybe still be kind of cautious around that. Does that sound right to you, Dr. Nisi?
We should definitely be cautious. I am disappointed that the Centers for Disease Control are not prioritizing controlling the spread of disease. Thought that was their mission. But on its face, it's scientifically accurate. If you are vaccinated, that does minimize your risk, like I just explained, significantly. But it's not taking into nuance everything that we've discussed tonight and the other issues for specific subsets of communities across all demographics. And so to me, it's like, it's hard. It makes it hard for people like me to not like lose or confuse my audience if I make a sound critique of the CDC, because I want people to understand that the science is reliable. Their judgment, I do not agree with.
Yeah,
If we're trying to preserve all human life,
right,
you're not considering all of the vulnerable.
How do you balance that? Because I'm glad you mentioned that. To me, I think that's always a really central point, especially we're here on this live stream, we're talking to people, and you're absolutely right. You don't want to lose or confuse your audience. And you're both making very valid points about the CDC is an organization, and it makes the statements that it makes, and obviously those are limited and can be somewhat politically motivated or influenced, and can be fallible. So sort of like, where do you find the risk and reward about, like, you're not telling people like, screw it, do your own research, but what do you think about there? Because you're making a great point, but again, like, you don't want to lose people. So
I guess I want to make it clear that, like, the science and the like epidemiological surveillance and analysis that the CDC has done is reliable, and it's based on sound methodology. Whatever their policies or their mandates or whatever their advisories that they put out are, and how those are influenced, is not exactly the same as how science is practiced, right? People who are funded in scientific institutes or, in academia, and even in industry to a large degree, to a huge degree, really, we don't get to make those kind of calls, because first of all, before you even get funding, you have to have a sound idea based on a research methodology that makes sense. It's reviewed. Ain't nobody gonna give you money for a project that they don't think is feasible, makes sense, will give you data that says what you say it's gonna do, and that you are the right person to do it. There's a lot that goes into people even getting funded. for starters. And then when you start doing research and you get data and you get what you get, it's not just up to you to make a call on it. You know, you may analyze it and put it together or whatever, but before you publish it or do anything, somebody else is a lot of people are going to review it. You know what I mean? And if they find something, you're either going to have to retract it or correct it, or else they're going to pull it. You know what I mean? So it's not like, you know, the CDC has a unique role in our society, so they can give us their advice and they give the government their advice. And it's just advice, unfortunately. I wish they could set policy, because maybe we could actually control the spread of disease. But the act of science itself, you know, as a scientist, there's so much oversight. And even though you can interpret, you know, data a certain way, there's only one way to, you know, I mean, it's like you know, there people don't just like make calls based on like their opinions or like their own insights. Like in science, you know, you're beholden to the data. Like no matter what your hypothesis was, if you proved yourself wrong, then that's what you report. You know, and so it's all about like that. The data dictates to you what you can report or what you can conclude, and there's a lot of oversight to curtail what you do conclude from your research, because it can't be too broad. And if you didn't prove it with the data, then you're not going to be able to say it. If somebody can't reproduce your research and get the same thing you got, people are going to start to call what you did into question, and that's just how it is. But so it's hard for people who don't understand to like maybe separate that. Like no one's saying that the science that comes out of the CDC isn't sound. It is. They're the top people in their field. But just like any other field, especially in medical research, scientific research, and medicine, there's still bias. And obviously there's, you know, the politics angle as well. And so maybe they're just concerned, and it almost seems like, you know, they just want to win. They just want to be like, okay, you guys, we said we were going to get you back to work, and we said we were going to get kids back in school, but it's just like, I just don't understand why we wouldn't still be operating with an overabundance of caution. It's unfortunate to me.
Here.
So.
That's well explained. I think there is a difference between the science, the data, and then maybe the interpretation or what you do with it, and yeah, that's definitely helpful.
Yeah.
So just one more thing to wrap up the whole discussion and kind of tie it all together, and tie it actually into the announcement that we're about to make. So, you know, Danjo and Dolio were both making some really excellent points about how to engage with, you know, with people, and Dr. Nisi, you've made a lot of excellent points about being around to answer all of the questions, and we got actually a great model of how to engage in the comments from our son in that Facebook post that had so much engagement. And but we also had some maybe not so great models, and unfortunately a lot of what seems to happen is that people get frustrated, and we even did it tonight a little bit, calling people idiots and whatnot, and it ideally, if we really want to be as persuasive as we can in these matters and try to make sure that we have as many people on board as possible, we want to make sure that we're not resorting to ad hominem attacks. The reason this connects to the mixtape that we're about to talk a whole bunch about is because, diss tracks have a long history in hip hop, and a long and storied and wonderful history in hip hop.
Okay.
And so
I like how you did that.
There's a place for ad hominem attacks, and that is in diss tracks.
All right.
But here in these kinds of discussions, Dr. Nisi, would you agree that maybe avoiding ad hominem attacks is better in order not to undermine our own arguments, and also that it can be very, very difficult to do so because it can be very tempting
when possible.
I have probably a hard time talking about it in the abstract.
Right.
If anyone knows me, I'm obviously like a grouch in general. That's obviously my general disposition, so it's not like I'm trying to watch my language in general. But when I am interacting with people directly, that is never what I want to do. Like, even trolls on Twitter, that's never what I want to do, because if they just see me as a troll, if somebody online just hates you, it's a wrap. You lost. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, even when we disagree, I still try to keep it like on the level, because they might come back, and they often do. You know what I mean? And so I like never in the direct interaction, but I can't hide, obviously, how baffled I am with what, just the level of ignorance, willful ignorance. You know what I mean? So, like, deliberately, stubbornly rejecting the truth in favor of ridiculousness. So it's hard for me, but I'm not a very nice person. I try. I try.
It's a good question, Sleeves.
Yeah. So with that, we want to thank Dr. Nisi Hudson, founder and CEO of the Hood Medicine Initiative, good friend of Gangstagrass, amazing person, doing the good work, spending hours and hours letting people ask maybe not the most well-informed questions as she hands them the real information from the real science and the real research, not just I read a thing somewhere or that guy in the lab coat on YouTube told me. Really doing the hard work to try to get these conspiracy theories out of people's heads and replace them with the real actual information. So thank you, Dr. Nisi, for joining us again. We will definitely see you again.
And we hope that someday you too will have a lab coat.
Yeah.
I actually
Dr. Nisi definitely has a lab
you gotta
coat.
break it out
Oh yeah.
next time.
You want to see it?
Well, you're coming back. You're going to be visiting us again.
Yeah, wear the lab coat
pretty
next
soon.
time so we have
I
more
will wear it
credibility.
next time. It's amazing.
You gotta have a microscope, an
It has like a little
stethoscope.
mouse actually on it with the microscope.
Aww. And so that's am I correct? Hoodmedicine.org, is that right? Am I remembering that
Yeah,
correctly?
hoodmedicine.org, and we actually have a really cool program going on this summer. If you want to click to donate for that, it's called Farmer for a Day. It's part of our AgStem advocacy, trying to teach Black and brown kids to learn to grow their food. So please definitely hit us up and support us there. And then we're at hood_medicine on social media.
Thank you.
Take a field trip to Dolio's house.
Oh yeah, right.
I know, he's like the king of it.
That's right.
Oh my
We're gonna
gosh,
have him and
Grapes
Aisha do
growing.
little segments. We have to get the baking segment.
Yeah,
In,
you gotta
obviously.
see how this. We've been having nonstop rain for the past week or so here.
Yeah, right.
And it's crazy. I should have been taking time lapse photos of my grapes.
Yeah, you're gonna have grapes knocking on the door and asking you to invite them in for dinner.
Because these things have just expanded like crazy since since then. It's crazy. Yeah,
Well,
but
thank
just to
you,
keep
guys.
the conspiracy theories going, go ahead and flash the ring that represents the secret cabal that you're involved in.
Who, me?
What's
I
secret
definitely
cabal? Yeah.
Wonder Twins, powers activate. Period. Thank you guys for having me. It's always a blast.
Thank you, Dr.
yeah.
Nisi.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to log into Twitch now so I can hear this big ass announcement.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yay.
Gangstagrass.tv.
All right.
All right, have a good night.
Peace.
Good night.
Bye.
So, let's everybody talk about some diss tracks and other things that are forthcoming.
Yeah. Well, some of you out there may be familiar with a little project we did at the start of 2020 called My Brother, Where You At?
Yeah.
Which was a mixtape where we paid tribute to some great classic tracks of hip-hop. I gave them the Gangstagrass treatment with fiddles and banjos and guitar playing the licks. And the big announcement for tonight is that just a couple weeks ago, we went into a studio together and we laid down an even longer mixtape of classic hip-hop tracks.
Volume 2, bitches!
Give them the treatment. And right now, we're going to tell you what it's called. We're going to show you the cover, and we're going to give you some of the lowdown on this new Gangstagrass gem that is about to be bequeathed.
And probably worth just mentioning, as I think our son mentioned in the comments on this Facebook thing just to tie this off. The studio that we went into, there was an intensive quarantine period for everybody before going in there. I just wanted to say it out loud, just to have said it. We're not idiots.
Right.
We did the thing.
Correct.
We did it right, and now
We all did it.
Yeah,
Yes.
we even made sure that we booked the time.
Yes, we booked the day before in the studio. We paid to have the day before so that the studio was empty for a full 24 hours before we walked in.
right. So
That's
the
how
space was
serious
clean.
we are about
The
it.
space was clean, and also, and like all of us that were there are fully vaccinated, and still that minimal risk that has been reduced of us getting and passing it on to our loved ones. Still, even with that, we took precautions.
Here.
Even on top of the vaccine. So I just
You
wanted
guys
to
are
put out
suckers.
there.
I'm gonna live my life the way.
No, I just want to point out there because one of the points that was mentioned. Sorry to be sidetracking here. One of the points that was mentioned was, well, what's the deal? How come you're wearing masks outside when I just saw you inside and you're all in each other's space? And that's a good question. And the answer is we don't quarantine like that for every single time we see each other outside. So when we're outside and we're all wearing masks, it's a different situation. So I just wanted to say that out loud because
Plus, the mask picture was taken outside on the street in my block, which is used to having Gangstagrass practice in my street, which usually also means it attracts attention and a crowd of some sort.
Like the people who actually like drove
It actually-
sort of
it
like
actually-
off,
it
like
actually
veered
pulled
off
up
the
off the
road,
road.
drove
Kind
up
of
onto the
crashed her
sidewalk,
car. I
got
think she
out of
kinda
their
crashed the
car, yeah,
Yo,
and came
yeah,
over,
this-
started dancing.
In the streets, I was like,
Just,
what
like,
the hell is going on?
abandoned
She's
their
like-
car.
They were
It
coming
was
down the
sweet.
street, whipped around, and just kind of
yeah, it
jackknifed
was
the
Pulled up
corner,
on the
jumped
sidewalk.
out,
Look,
and
good
just started
vibes.
dancing in the street around us. We were like, okay.
yeah. It's the sort of thing where normally I'd be like, I'm gonna wear a mask around you because I don't know you. I'm
Right,
sorry.
she was unmasked.
Yeah, man.
We don't know these people.
So yeah, so
It was good vibes, though.
We did all that to keep all of our loved ones safe and to bring to you the
Yes,
brand
why?
new mixtape. Are we ready to reveal the name of the brand new mixtape?
Yeah. Arsen, I want you to let people know what it's called.
So, if y'all remember, the first mixtape that we put out last year was called "My Brother, Where You At," and an homage to "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou." And so when we were trying to come up with the title for this one, we were kind of throwing it around, and then Dan was like,
what
"Will
about
the cipher be unbroken?"
Yep.
Boom! That was it. You just nailed it right there. So, Volume 2 of the Gangstagrass Hip Hop Mixtapes is called "Will the Cipher Be Unbroken?" And it's so good. Yo.
Here's Rashid.
I
because of the hamburgers.
Yeah.
so
Why do you say we put up the cover too? Why
Oh,
you
yeah,
put
throw the
the
cover
Yes,
art.
It was the hamburgers.
shout out to my brother Kenny Thomas, who he did the art for the first one, and this is the second one. And I've heard different interpretations of what it is and what it could be. You take it how you want. But I love it because this guy's an amazing artist. I got like 4 or 5 T-shirts of stuff that he's done. If you check him out on was it Tomcat23 on Instagram? His work is amazing, and we wanted to keep the same kind of feel. And so I reached out to him, was like, all right, this is the title. Give me something similar. And he's, when this thing hit my email, I was like, word.
You know what?
Word is bond.
This says to me, will the cipher be unbroken even after death as zombies? No, it will not.
See that? Now I got that one. It's also, will the cipher be unbroken? See all those hands reaching up there? What's that? That's clouds. In the sky, Lord. In the sky. You see how that it works? Either way, man. However you want to see it. Either those are clouds, or the cipher was so hot that the mic is smoking. You see how it's smoking it?
Yeah.
However you want to look at it.
Okay.
All I'm saying
Okay,
is
all
dope.
right.
Shout out to Kenny Thomas, artist extraordinaire and really, really good dude. So the mixtapes kind of sprung out of an idea that I had a few years back, and when I brought them up to everybody, the whole band was like, oh yeah, we should definitely be doing this. And so we like every couple days for a while we were like, yo, we should do this song. What about this song? Maybe this song? How about this song? And so it's been a long road. There's still about 30 different songs that we still want to do. So, you know what I mean? I don't see it ending anytime soon, but this one that we just put together, man. Whoo.
Bruh.
We gotta give them a track list.
Sure, we can say what it is.
We can certainly say the first 5 that are coming out. If you want to give the whole track list, I'll defer.
First, I want to point something out that the Barnstormers are about to get this.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's actually already there. If we haven't sent out the notice yet, but if you're a Barnstormer, just log in. It's already there.
But surprise release.
Platinum and up are getting the whole mixtape. Nickel level is getting about half of the tracks, so they're getting like 6 awesome tracks from this mixtape. And we're about to send out an email notification. But anybody that joins the Barnstormers, even right now, is going to be getting in on this and get right to this mixtape.
That's right.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes. So you'll be getting it. What's the official release date of the whole mixtape, Wrench?
July 9th.
So we have a couple songs coming out in advance of that, but July 9th, everybody else is going to have to wait until then to get the mixtape. But if you are already a Barnstormer, or if you join, you will get it immediately.
I mean, I guess you could wait if you wanted to wait.
If you're into that kind of thing.
It looks like...
and I must admit, I have played a couple of the tracks for 5-1, who was part of the Gangstagrass fam.
Here.
And also for Dr. Nisi.
Nice.
And you could visibly see their minds explode.
I
did it over Zoom so they could, so I could see the reaction on their faces.
And Gen 42 is a Barnstormer, and apparently she found it already. She logged in. Barnstormers actually get a login to gangstagrass.com, and she went in and saw that it's there already. Rusty now knows what he's doing this weekend.
That's right.
He is a Platinum Barnstormer, so he's going to have the whole thing to listen to.
Yeah, he's going to be punching a hole through the roof with that.
That's right. That's right.
Yep, and it looks like this is Linda's birthday for this release.
Snap.
Hey, Linda was on the phone with me the other day when she saw it, and that was very. She's like, "Wait a minute, what is this?" And sure enough, yep, it's ready. It's ready to go. It's there. It's ready for you. Enjoy. So, what is the first track of this? First track or tracks that's getting released.
We jump right into it, man. We come out of the barrel pretty hot doing our version of Annie Up by MOP. Which,
the national anthem.
The national anthem.
This is a track that we have loved for a long time. And it's one of those things like, I don't know that it's such a good idea to even try to mess with it because it's so perfect and it's so high energy. Like, it just feels like a riot going on. And so
we can't do high energy, so
we decided to take that on and try to capture that with what we do, and we did. What I want to say, if I can toot our horn for a minute like this, doing Annie Up is not something everybody should try to take on.
No, and it's not something we took lightly.
Yeah,
not at all. I'm still a little terrified. Not gonna lie.
That's right,
bruh. I was actually banging that track today driving around. I was like, I took a little longer looking for parking just so I could play it a couple more times.
Nice.
I've had it on repeat for a minute, y'all.
Bruh.
And we got no secrets for anybody, but when's the cassette coming out?
We got to make this one on cassette too, but we haven't got that ordered yet, so.
Okay.
We don't know, but there will be cassette tapes of this available at some point. There are still a few copies of the last mixtape on cassette you can get at the store at gangstagrass.com for anybody out there that's interested in
Ooh.
owning a cassette tape.
I thought that was sold out. You dug up a few more copies. You better grab it quick because that
Got a few more
that is not
copies
gonna
in the
last.
store. Yeah.
That'll be gone.
Actually handled like, a traditional mixtape, meaning I got on the turntables and mixed that sucker.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's right. So the tape experience is actually even beyond the individual tracks experience.
I really like that it's that way. That almost makes me, well, it does make me want to have a tape player. I don't have one, but if I did, that I would really like that.
I do. Or that I'm getting supposed to have a tape deck in it.
Yeah, Pharaoh's getting a whole car with a tape deck
Well, yeah,
just for these
that's
purposes.
the
It's
El
the whole
Camino.
reason. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to that.
Yeah.
And from there, instead of going in order, I just want to welcome people to shout out, tracks from this mixtape that you particularly are excited about or want to talk about how you were excited to do them or anything.
I want to save mine. Okay, no, I opened my mouth. So, all right, yeah. Instead of going in order, why don't we talk about the last track?
Last
on
one.
the mixtape.
Which turns out to be maybe the last two tracks, since we did it two different ways.
That's
right.
true. We liked it so much. We ended up kind of like with the first mixtape. We did that little. We did a little interlude that we extracted from this riff in "Passing Me By," the Far Side track. We extracted this riff and turned it into its own little fiddle tune breakdown. So we did sort of a similar thing with this one. So everybody knows Tupac classic California Love, and so we kind of did our own spin on this because I always enjoy touring Cali and getting to see all the different towns, the different names of the places, and I'm just like, I've been there too, all these different places. That's awesome. And then I thought, and you know where else we've been all over? We've been all over Appalachia. We have hit that place so hard, and they just keep coming back for more. And then I started thinking, how many states are in that region? And I feel like I've said too much.
Yeah.
But,
And
I am.
just an Easter egg. How many Commonwealths?
Oh yeah, at least 3. I don't even know if I named all of the Appalachian region is lush and diverse and far-reaching. So depending on, I don't know, like I didn't name New Jersey, but I think that the upper tip of it just counts. But no, it was a really fun one to work on, and I hope people dig it.
Are we gonna share a track?
Only if you turn your camera back on.
Ooh.
I don't know. The one, I mean, I'm excited about all of it. But as a Southern boy myself, I am especially excited by the fact that we also have stuff from Southern hip hop on here. And especially one that we end up rocking when we're in the van on the road quite frequently. And just coincidentally, both of the joints we're doing on here that are from Southern hip hop are from Gulf Coast, which is also where I'm from. So like both of them, Houston, Port Arthur, and stuff like that. Oh, sorry, I hear my mic is dying out. But yeah, I would have to say 25 Lighters tribute is close to my heart.
And the thing that happens in that song is so amazing. So if you haven't listened to I'll Be Sure Night and Day lately, you might want to just take another listen to that one to refresh your memory.
All right, so 25 Lighters is a hip hop song that was like sampling or referencing an I'll Be Sure song, but we kind of went and took that back into like fully expanding back out into the I'll Be Sure song within there.
Yeah. So we paid homage to both of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I turned my camera on. Are we going to share something?
Oh.
Pharaoh doesn't fire it up for just anything. All right.
What about the Appalachia Love breakdown?
Ooh, yeah. So folks can hear how we bluegrassified that for the little breakdown version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I'm gonna have to take the. Let me know if you can hear this.
And this is with me on mandolin of all things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, people in the band, several people in the band switched up their instruments for this particular project.
That's true. We had a lot of wrench on bass.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to take down the cover so I can reshare the
We had our son singing.
iTunes here.
Our son singing.
We had sleeves on the cowbell.
Always.
Oh.
I was actually playing the toe triangle.
Oh, you're showing us all the tracks.
You're just showing
We're
the whole
seeing
track
it.
list.
We're
There we
seeing
go.
it.
There we
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You
Oh.
saw it literally here
You're-
first.
You're here.
I'm gonna shrink
It's
it
a
down
leak.
now. So the leak is no longer leaky.
Still just as big for me. Oh wait, oh it's shrinky. Oh,
Rinky
it
dinky.
shrinked. It shrinked so small. You gotta be fast on the screen grabs there.
Was that? I need to make sure I put share sound
Share
on
sound. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We've all learned. We all understand the Zoomers now.
there.
I listened to this giant so many times. I like this breakdown.
Really peering behind the curtain here. Appalachia knows how to party.
Something's going on.
Well, we all got muted.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
because Zoom interferes. You know, if like say a siren goes by, Zoom will pick up that.
It
instead of the
also
music.
Already did
out of my speakers. Were you hearing the track?
I was hearing
We
it.
heard it, but then it started to sort of crack up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's because it was muted as well.
Let's see if I can get everything back in order.
Am I red for some
Honestly, I mean that was enough of a teaser.
You
I
do
think,
appear to be oversaturated, Pharaoh.
Yeah, and I think that was enough of a teaser to sate the appetite.
Just a little bit. So if you want to hear it now, jump on gangstagrass.com/barnstormers.
Yep.
And you will be able to get, if you're platinum, Will the Cipher Be Unbroken, the full thing. And if you're nickel, you'll be getting half of it, those initial releases. We have tracks coming out each of the last Friday of June after we release that Freedom remix on June 18th in advance of Juneteenth. We will then have tracks coming out every Friday up until the July 9th release date of the full mixtape. And some of the tracks are going to be available on streaming services. Other ones you're just going to have to get either downloading from super secret places, or of course, if you're a Platinum Barnstormer, right at the tip of your fingers.
So another one that I don't know, it excites me is the classic track "Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangsta" by Ghetto Boys, which I feel like, I don't know, it just goes back so long, something that should have been in the air so long, whether it's Office Space or just like hearing that song around and what a cool vibe it was, and the fact that the MCs were able to transform that into "Damn It Feels Good to Be in Gangstagrass," which just makes me smirk every time that comes around. It was such a cool version.
That's right.
Now I'm sitting here trying to remember which track had my favorite verses on it.
We were just shooting through tracks when we came up with that one. We were like, wait a minute. That's obvious. We have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The Annie Up tracks are the verses are.
Yeah.
Oh, you like it?
He agrees.
Mm-hmm.
I like Thank you. We appreciate
I'm still that my favorite is Black Connection, man.
I
love that record so much. Shout out to Geechee Suede and Sonny Chiba. I love that record so much. Like I'll listen to that thing like 5 or 6 times in a row in the whip. It bangs so hard. And it was like, you know what, we have to do this. Like that violin sample is so dope. Like, all right, let's see what we can make happen with this. And man, these motherfuckers right here. Woo! That's fiery.
Maybe we should try playing a little bit of that for a second.
It was the hottest day of the late spring so far when that happened too.
Yeah, it was a little warm in there.
And if you know anything about recording in a studio, you can't necessarily have air conditioning going because it shows up on the mics.
Well, what's
I would
wild
say that was definitely like the hottest day of that entire 24 hours.
He was running the air conditioning.
Yeah, but it was like, kind of like indirect.
In the other room, and the air was kind of blowing through.
So we had to go to the other room to get some cool air, but like we must have dropped a pound of sweat each.
Yeah.
Because this was like a 8.5 hour recording session of us just in there banging it out. Because,
we started to feel like a live show there for a minute.
We did 2 takes of Black Connection. We did one that was basically the second song of the day that we recorded, and one that was the second to last song of the day that we recorded. So this one's like the book ending.
And of course, we had DJ Lacey T in the house.
That's right.
To put the cuts on there.
Shout out to Lacey T.
Yeah.
That's right.
Shout out to Octavius.
And Lacey T is going to be with us this
Shout out
coming
to Lawrence
Thursday,
Arnell.
June 10th in West Virginia. Yeah. Shout out to Lawrence doing videography.
Yeah.
Shout out to Octavius engineering.
Because we have video coming from this session, just like the last one.
Yeah.
But
and
this
Lacey
time
T,
we stepped it up a bit too.
Yeah.
Lacey T heard the tracks. I sent her the mixes, and she was like, "Man, there's like such energy on this.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to realize until you think back, like how hot and tired we all were. But you listen to the tracks, and it's like, man, these guys are bouncing off the walls."
There's a quality to at least like our son's voice. I noticed on a couple of takes there was like a fuck it quality. It's good. It's just like I don't know. It was not like when you're used to hearing somebody like sort of first take of the day like in their bedroom. The whole 2020 thing of like, all right, let's try this out. Let's feel out some things, and then just like that session in the studio is just like take number 2048.
But I played when I played the Andy up for 5 was like, yo, I realized why y'all was so tired at the end of the day, because I've never heard you guys with this much like fire behind it.
Power. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like, okay, there's the energy behind it of like us being back in the studio together.
Yeah.
First time in a long time.
Yeah.
And just being like, okay, we're about to hit these folks with everything we got.
The last time we were in a studio was mid-February of 2020.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can't talk about that one, huh?
Got up there and unleashed holy hell.
It was like we were supposed to go into the studio in March of 2020 again, and it got canceled at the last minute. So that was like a year and a half of studio blue balls that were like getting unleashed.
Studio blue balls.
That's a good name for a studio.
It is
I
not
like
a good
it.
name for a studio.
It's a great name for a studio.
Good name for an
Like
album. Maybe a good name for a band. Guys, we're changing the name of the band.
Studio Blue Balls.
Oh, good night.
The AMA folks are gonna love that.
This is a whole album full of intros.
That would be amazing.
I did find there is a Blue Balls Entertainment on Twitter.
Wow.
Farrah, we don't need to know about what you're watching.
Oh.
I was trying to see if that name was available because
Of course you were.
Oh man.
All
Yep.
bands.
I want to.
You definitely were not already following them.
I want to check to see if it's available so that I can secure it, so that no one else can ever use it for anything. Just to make the world a safer place. But anyway, getting back to your point, Dolio, I mean, yeah, we were just talking about, like, we've got a show coming up. You know, we've got a show a month coming up, and damned if I'm not gonna get like every banjo solo I've been sitting on for a year. I'm just gonna pour that all into like one show. And then just recover for a month.
Really think about this. Like what Danjo's saying here is so true, because in an ordinary summer, we wouldn't be having a show a month. We'd be having big shows and little shows and medium shows, and we'd be having them all in, these long strings of tours going all around and, hitting city by city. And just because we still don't feel like it is fully responsible of us to be gathering people together. And specifically, we don't want to make our fans choose between seeing Gangstagrass and staying safe. We have selected a few big outdoor, festival shows. So, this one is in West Virginia, is a big open field. It is I'm going to say this one more time, a big open field. With a brand new stage. I was actually brand new just before the pandemic, so I believe, are the first like real big show happening there ever. So it's very exciting. Yes, Linda, Thursday is going to be the best show ever.
A really big show.
Until July 4th in Wisconsin, which will then be the best show ever, because Danjo is going to be bringing an entire month's worth of banjo solos to each of these shows.
Best show that month,
That's right. That's right.
It's something to think about. It really is something to think about.
And if you want to warm up with the mixtape, you can do that by joining the Barnstormers, which we would love. We've gotten a lot of great Barnstormers joining up in the last month, and we really appreciate you, and we are very excited that this material is coming out to you. So if you're already a Barnstormer, go ahead and log in. If you're not, join up, and you'll have the whole mixtape.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Any of you Barnstormers that are in the chat right now, let us know if you want to hear another little sample of something. And the first request goes to the first Barnstormer that makes it in the chat there. Of if you want to hear a little section of our Andy Up or 25 Lighters or Appalachia Love or Damn It Feels Good to Be in Gangstagrass, we'll put one of those up for just a minute to share it with you.
Word. Or Black Connection. I'm a big fan of The Choice Is Yours. That's a song I liked back in the day, and I like that it really works with that Gangstagrass message of you can get with this and you can get with that. Does not have to be an or. You can make the choice to get with both of these things, to get with all of these things, to party down with every bit of it.
Dan Toma is asking about whether there's going to be live streaming any of the upcoming shows, which I don't think we actually know about that.
That's correct. I think it's a possibility, but that's not up to us. That's entirely up to the venue. I know a lot of venues are live streaming shows now, which is great. I think that's a wonderful thing to make sure you keep the crowd sizes down, allow people to watch the show safely in whatever way they see fit. So it's possible, but we don't have any specific information about that.
Somebody asked if we were going to be doing that. A couple people have asked me actually. Like, are you guys going to be live streaming your shows?
It's a great question.
I don't know.
Yeah, based on how internet is typically in giant fields in West Virginia, I'm going to guess this coming up one probably won't be. So if you want to see this one, you're going to have to join us in just outside of Charlestown, West Virginia. It's about an hour and a half outside of DC. So if you're around those parts, it is not actually too far. And we do have the request.
It's just 3 hours from Philly.
We do have the request for Appalachia Love that has come up in the chat.
All right, let's play a little bit of the other version.
Yeah.
That we dropped, and see if I can make this happen here.
Get it clean from the top though. I really want to get that intro. All right, everybody mute. Everybody mute. Here we go.
I will mute. 100% guarantee we get them packed in. Fact is, we rap.
Yeah.
There you go. Little taste of that one.
Yeah.
That's all you get.
That's
For
what's
now.
up.
Yeah.
That is all you get.
Yeah,
Shout out to
I had a lot of fun with that one.
The research on the Studio Blue Balls first.
All right. Yeah, but Noli likes it. Linda likes it. Toma likes it. We're getting some good responses here. Can't wait for everybody to just get this whole thing, man. Dropping on July 9th and going out before that to the Barnstormers.
I mean, just become a Barnstormer. It's the easy way.
It's the easy way. It's there right now. And then when it has its big splashy premiere on July 9th, you'll be like, whatevs, I've had that for a month already. That's right. That's right. Share it with your friends. Spread the word. We are really excited about this. Yeah. And it's fun that we get to do some stuff. You know, this band does a lot of amazing originals and a lot of great sort of reimaginings of, inspired by classic bluegrass tunes, really old stuff. And it's so fun to get to jump into doing the hip hop covers as well.
That's my favorite comment so far. Feeling it, giggling, but still feeling it.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's the thing. It's like the sort of like the laugh of like recognizing what's being done and being so amused by that, even though you're totally loving it, which is a good thing. I remember way back in the day when B-Star started doing How I Could Just Kill a Man, and that was cool. And we were going to experiment with some other things. There was one show where we did our countrified version of The Message, and but we were doing it as kind of like a country ballad, like really like taking down. And like a few lines in, somebody in the audience laughed, but I know that it was actually one of those laughs of like recognizing what he was actually hearing. But the singer Veronica was a little freaked out by that. She was like, "Whoa, somebody laughed. I don't know about this," but I was like, "No, that was one of those good laughs."
Yeah, and that's honestly, I think that's been central to the whole Gangstagrass thing throughout. Is like, okay, yeah, it's like you want to get it, but we're not just doing this as like a bit. Like it's not like a gag. Like we wanted to make sure that we actually like execute the thing well, and like it's something to be proud of. It's dope. I will say it. This is a great project. I'm very proud. Very pleased.
Here.
Very tired. I'm gonna go to sleep.
Yeah. So we've
wherever Pharaoh went.
Yes.
Those are some big ass announcements.
That's right. And remember, Back in the High Life again, coming out. Great stuff. You might notice some special things about it.
Yes.
We've got the Dua Lipa cover out now. You can also see that on YouTube.
Yeah. And next Friday, it occurs to me, we will have just played the show in West Virginia, and we will still be together. So a week from now, our live show is not going to be this whole little separate squares thing deal, and we'll be able to have a full on party with you, and maybe even play some stuff over the live stream.
I still think we should all have our own window when we do it all. I still think that. I really do.
We'll see what we can do.
We'll have each have our own windows, but we'll all just cram into one.
Yeah.
We'll just make
mosey on into the others.
We'll take a big piece of paper and just cut out little rectangles and put it in front of the camera so that we all look like we're in separate things.
See, now you're taking me back to that era of split screen console gaming where you'd like tape a cardboard wall onto the cathode ray tube TV, and so that you wouldn't be able to screen look and see where your buddy was in GoldenEye. All right, I'm dating myself.
A little bit.
But
I know exactly what you mean.
Make sure you get yourself flowers. Just kidding. Flowers are a terrible gift. They're very depressing.
No.
They are. Here's a dead thing. Watch it die more.
Yeah.
No. Here's a thing that I grew in my yard,
a
and I just
bouquet of
flipped it and brought
flowers.
it in,
I
and
have
I'm
a
actually
bouquet of
helping the
flowers.
bush to grow better by removing the. I grow roses.
Okay,
So-
if you grow them yourself, I'm less upset. But it's still so it's like, oh, and then they wilt, and it's so sad. And like as soon as they're cut, they're
Actually,
dead. I'd rather have them on the
actually-
bush.
Actually, we have several rose bushes out front that were grown from bouquets of roses. If you take the rose,
There you go.
you can plant it.
Okay, the only non-depressing bouquet of flowers I've ever heard of comes out of Dolio's garden because it was created from a thing that generally would be dead at that point. So kudos, Dolio. Way to make that happen. This is the kind of creativity
I have
we're
a
talking
bouquet of
about
flowers
here.
sitting right next to my desk that's been alive for 3 weeks.
So just, if anybody wants to sleeve something, make sure that the flowers are dead already when you give them, so that they don't have to be observed in the process of dying.
Yeah, pre-wilted.
Oh, that means that the next time you have one of your Saturday live streams, Wrench, I'm gonna definitely request that Dead Flowers song. And Dolio's live stream dance party is tomorrow, 3 p.m.
Right.
Gangstagrass.tv.
Tomorrow, 3 p.m. We're gonna get it crunk.
Yeah.
I might have to play some crunk.
Yup.
Now I think about it. Yeah, last time I got really heavy into some dance hall, some deep cuts, and some new dance hall reggae, some new reggae tracks, some stuff popping out of Jamaica now. I'm not sure what I'm gonna play tomorrow, but I know I have a few tracks in mind that Sleeves and I have talked about.
That's right. Excited about this. Very excited about this.
Also, it's Sunday evening, for those of you that watch CNN, my wife is going to be featured in W. Kamau Bell's United Shades of America, as well as the rest of my family. It's going to be, I think it was at 10 o'clock Eastern?
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock on Sundays, yeah.
Yeah. And if you miss it on CNN, you can see it on HBO Max.
Huh. Consider getting HBO Max for that. But first, I'm going to make sure I'm a barnstormer. So CNN, Sunday night, we have the Gangstagrass dance party tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's noon Pacific. That is 8 p.m. in the UK. We try to make that one easy for our UK folks. And we got a lot of enthusiasm for Michelle in the chat. What a wonderful guest. It was so great to have her. And then next week, what are we I don't know. Oh, right. Next week, we're all going to be together. And then the week after that, we've got the Juneteenth live stream on June 18th, looking ahead to Juneteenth, and having our amazing guest, Reese Palmer, talking about the new remix of Freedom. So much stuff happening. Make sure you're following Gangstagrass on the socials, at Gangstagrass, whichever Twitter or Instagrams or even TikTok, although we don't make a lot of announcements on TikTok. That's mostly Wrench being wacky, and that's pretty fun. So make sure you're following us on the socials. You will get those pieces of information. You can also find information about our upcoming events at gangstagrass.com/events.
And from time to time, you can hear me and Sleeve chopping it up on
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse, that's right.
I keep forgetting about Cameo.
Word up. We will see everybody tomorrow at 3 p.m. right here at gangstagrass.tv.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks,
Rock and roll,
everybody. Good night.
Peace.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, those are some big ass announcements.
Bye-bye. Announcing I'm going to bed.
Like, speaking of big asses. No.
Oh.
All right, I got work to do.
All right. They
Good
think
work.
I'm gonna go
they
in.
think we don't know that they can still hear us.
Yeah.
Really?
We're just
Oh, really?
we're part of that like hot mic underground movement core, hot mic
Get a
core.
load of this one.
That's right. That's right. Here in Washington, D.C., we make a real art out of it.
Really? It puts the lotion on its skin.
Oh boy. All right, there it goes now, and now we're muted. Okay.
Later, y'all.
Night.